an open letter to the bridging movement. William Edward Burghardt Du Bois prophesied in The Souls of Black Folks, the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line. The problem of a color line continues today. Despite this country's significant political and social advancements, there remains a translucent line not to be crossed. For all of our nation's legislative leaps forward and judicial recalibrating, her colorblindness continually proves to too many that love cannot be legislated nor justice adjudicated. More importantly, efforts to strategically stage courageous conversations or engage across ideological and socially defined lines of other have yet to result any greater clarity or civility amongst us, due in part to an ever-evolving coloring of lines drawn to define, divide, distort, or defend from the different and indifference. Color lines not solely grounded in race, but in culture, identity, ideology, geography, and other constructions. As an African American executive leader in the deliberative democratic field, my work to establish diversity as an operating premise requires negotiating and navigating these blurred and often invisible lines. For example, there's this pressing interrogative within the bridging space. Should bridging work and racial justice be pursued simultaneously rather than sequentially? This recent query of field leaders agreed that these respective forms of deliberative democratic engagement ought be pursued together. Yet when asked whether most leaders and influencers who focus their efforts and attention and heart and passion and lives on racial justice could comprehend or even supported bridging work, a significant majority of those same respondents disagreed to some degree, ranging from strongly to somewhat, or they possessed a neutral opinion. Additionally, results of these questions focused also on the level of diverse leaders and the participation of diverse people. And it signaled to the bridging leaders by their own admission that writ large, the field is doing a poor job at attracting and engaging with racial justice leaders and influencers. Now, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, this is good news, right? This is healthy self-awareness. This is cultural competence at its best, right? Maybe. However, as one who has always been a problem, or at least the color of their commentary, their skin, their politics, their existence being a problem, these and other questions like these potentially suggest a couple of things. That the idea of bridging work and racial justice, these respective expressions, are somehow antithetical to the presence of diverse persons and identities, etc., primarily exists only within racial justice work. I wonder, is there really a difference between bridging and racial justice work? Aren't the aspirations of bridging and racial justice work aligned? Are these respective categories code for something deeper, maybe even divisive? Oh, I know. Do people, it's just that people of a particular color only do deliberative, democrative engagement one way. And it's because obviously everybody in a specific geographic area's politics are colored the same. In a book that I wrote some time ago, Holding Up Your Corner, talking about race in your community, I discussed how our respective beliefs and cultural connections and society often force us into binary boxes that erase both our realities and our identities. I noted that without intentional reflection or personal experiences to the contrary, these contrived boxes become definitive. I make reference of the aforementioned not to criticize the bridging field's evaluative exercise, rather to highlight its and other disciplines' acute perception difference, their respective color blindness. Now, each of us experience less than perfect visual acuity. Some are more limited than others by nearsightedness, the others by farsightedness, and it leaves them most times when we can't see or see clearly in a state of denial. Those of us who struggle with seeing are able to see some things more clearly than others, while many times our failure to see leaves us inattentive and unfocused and only able to acknowledge or account for what is immediately before us. Even worse, there are far too many persons whose work is meant to be inclusive, just, equitable, and liberating, who suffer from this form of blindness. Now, good news is that there is some help. Blindness is correctable and there are habits or practices that are adaptive to address our respective condition of limited sight and the ability to distinguish beyond the shades of black or white or gray that we may suffer from. There is corrective action that can be applied to address our degrees of blindness. So the question before each and every one of us remains, what are we committed to? Will the through line of our nation continue be colored, stained sometimes, or will it be in technicolor, beautiful and imaginative, multifaceted? Are we committed to democracy, to a democracy that is inclusive? Do we yet still believe in a social contract, one that inherently seeks and assures equity? Will our shared aim continue to be life, liberty, justice? Or is this just efforts and exercises and a place for a few of us? The choice is ours.